Sometimes I know I'm in trouble pretty quickly. If you don't recognize the name System 3, let me just advance past the first title screen, and what I'm dealing with in Ferrari becomes more obvious. That staccato music, an interface that doesn't make a bit of sense? Yeah, we're dealing with European computer game designers making the jump to a console. It's 1992, and they still think this is acceptable. You have to hit select to switch the text at the bottom between practice and qualifying. Qualifying means you're actually playing out the season of F1. And then when you get past that, you have the option to turn off the music, of course, because you always have to have that in a British computer game. And then you have to toggle between yes and no with select in order to get to a password entry screen. There's actually a bit of a dispute about the title of the game in Japan. The box and cartridge just call it Ferrari. The title screen calls it Ferrari Grand Prix Challenge, because that was the title of the game in other regions, and the only thing that they changed for the Japanese release was adding the publisher to the text at the very beginning. So you'll find the game listed with both titles when you look around online. This is also one of the rarer Famicom games. At the time of this recording, there are 2 copies for sale online. And honestly, that's 2 more than I was expecting. You just don't find this one very often. Ferrari has 16 tracks. It isn't that great how the music resets every time you move to another course. When it's time to start racing, you first go to this screen where you're setting up your car, and despite how it looks, you're not choosing between an automatic and a manual and then setting up your gearbox. It is an automatic or a 3-speed manual. The controls while driving are simple enough. Hold down A to accelerate, B to brake, and up and down shifts if you're using a manual. For practice runs, you can decide how many laps you're going to do, but if you're playing out the season, then you only get 1 qualifying lap. In a qualifying lap, you start from a dead stop and just have to go around the course. Now you might expect that the qualifying lap would be pretty similar to the actual race. It is not. During the qualifying lap, your car performs very differently. You are stuck to that track with perfect grip, and all of the turns are signaled in advance. Your car is also among the slowest of the racers on the qualifying lap. If you race perfectly, the best position you could start in is about 15th. As long as you can complete the qualifying lap in the required time, and the only way that you won't is if you make a major mistake, then you head off to the race. And in the race, your car no longer has any grip, the signals for the turns are a lot tighter, and you'll find that your car is significantly faster than all of the other cars on the track. You'll just fly past everybody, even though they had an easier time qualifying than you. It seems like in Ferrari that once you pass somebody and it despawns their car, then it spawns the next person who should be in front of you. It really seems to only be tracking your position and the other 3 lead cars, and you're still a lot faster than those cars. The cars are the biggest hazard in Ferrari because they will cheerfully collide with you all day long, making you spin out. And once you've started spinning out, odds are they'll collide with you again and cause you to get stuck in a loop. As you progress in the 5-lap races, you have to have at least a certain position or the game will end. And what position you have to be in increases over the course of the race. Now we have to talk about pitting. As you spin out or skid or get hit, your car will take some damage, and it will be reported to you in the lower left-hand corner. Eventually, it is possible to wreck your car, and to deal with that damage, you can just pull into the pit. There is a problem with that though. The pit lane is just a wider area of the track, and slightly touching the dashed line at the pit area causes the immense gravitational pull of the pit to draw your car in. So if you came out of a turn right before the pit and were still sliding, or was trying to maneuver around an erratically moving car, and your front wheel just barely touches the pit lane, well, then you're stuck. You get to watch your car slow down, come to a stop, and then you have to mash A and B to make the crew change your tires. I did not pit a single time intentionally while I was racing. Once the race is done, you can see everybody standing in that race, how it affected the points, and which manufacturer's cars are doing the best. You also have the opportunity to get a password to continue where you left off. This is one of those Famicom games that has no following in Japan and nobody talking about it. There's just nothing on this one out there. Now, as much as I've complained in this video, the actual races in Ferrari aren't bad. Okay, I hate the pits, but everything else is just fine. It is a game where you're going to have to memorize the track layout and get used to driving it before you can do really well. And I spent a lot of time getting rammed by other cars, watching my position drop until the race terminated on me. The real problems here are everything besides the racing. It's just a badly designed package there. But that's also only about 10% of the game. I'm probably never going to play this again, but I also wouldn't be shocked if I could find somebody who enjoyed it.